Good morning. Now, I gotta go out there and set some basic rules before we go over our trade deadline show. I have made this mistake in the past, but I have gone out there and tried to document everything under the sun in prior years, and that's kind of not what I want to do this time. This year, we're just going to go over the trades that I actually kind of care about, talking about players that I actually want to talk about, not just going over everything that happens for the sake of going over everything that happens. If you want, we might make a bigger video that kind of encompasses everything, but I don't really count on it because we're going to break down so many trades, smaller trades, or not smaller trades, but smaller pieces of the bigger picture in these more segmented videos. But we're kicking things off with probably the biggest trade that happened about an hour ago. It's kind of wild. I woke up at 7:30, was scrolling through Twitter, and I ended up falling asleep like minutes before this trade was announced. Actually, I slept for an hour, which is why everything is coming out late here. But Marc-Andre Fleury has indeed been traded. He has indeed waived his no-trade clause or his no-move clause. Hearing the Blackhawks are trading Fleury to the Minnesota Wild. Sounds like a conditional second-round pick that can become a first as the return. Here are the conditions. The second-round pick becomes a first for the Blackhawks if Minnesota reaches the Western Conference Finals and Fleury accounts for 4 or more wins in the first 2 rounds. 4 or more, what does that mean? Well, it means that Fleury will be splitting the crease with Cam Talbot in the upcoming postseason. Now, what about Kaapo Kähkönen, you may ask? Well, the Wild ended up trading him to the San Jose Sharks. Lo and behold, the Edmonton Oilers have not gone out there and traded for a goalie at the time of me recording this audio. Again, things could realistically change within seconds, so I'm taking that with a grain of salt. But we still do have about 2.5 hours of trade action here. The Blackhawks are also retaining 50% on Marc-Andre Fleury, and then you have yourselves the conditional pick of the Fleury trade being in 2022 per source. And so, you go over on Marc-Andre Fleury and take a look at this right here. Getting traded for essentially a second/a first. This is a lot better than what the Vegas Golden Knights got when they traded Fleury to the Chicago Blackhawks in the first place. That Finnish dude, Hartikainen or whatever the guy's name is, Hakkarainen I think, is not even playing in the NHL, and so Fleury being traded again, this time for a second/first conditional first-round pick, is kind of wild. No pun intended. His $7 million cap hit will be cut down to 3.5 on the Minnesota system because there is salary retained. It expires at the end of this season, and I mean, I don't really need to go over the numbers right here. Fleury is Fleury. He's got a .908 save percentage this year and a .295 goals against. He's been playing a lot worse than he had been previously because the Blackhawks are just a worse defensive team. Therefore, we can see why the numbers took a big hit. Either way, though, you see him going over to a Wild team that's actually got a lot better of a defensive core and a defensive system than Chicago does, and I would be pretty surprised to see him not rebound statistically once these last 20 or so games wrap up. Now, that's no disrespect to Cam Talbot because he's been doing pretty well too for the Minnesota Wild this season. Take a look at his stats and the overall body of work he has had. .907 save percentage and a .292 goals against, but of course we still have ourselves a few more games to go, and he'll probably round things out, especially with a veteran like Fleury as his mentor right there. So let me know in the comments your thoughts about this trade over here. Fleury to the Wild for a conditional first/second round pick. I'm just going to say second. Yeah, let's just say second, because is it guaranteed that the Wild make the Final Four? It's not really guaranteed. So, Fleury for a second. There you go. It could become a first. Let me know in the comments your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.